Independence Day, also referred to as the 4th of July or July 4th, is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the adoption of the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776. The Continental Congress declared that the 13 American colonies regarded themselves as a new nation, the United States of America, and were no longer part of the British Empire. The Congress actually voted to declare independence 2 days earlier, on July 2. Independence Day is commonly associated with fireworks, parades, barbecues, carnivals, fairs, picnics, concerts, baseball games, family reunions, and political speeches and ceremonies, in addition to various other public and private events celebrating the history, government, and traditions of the United States. Independence Day is the National Day of the United States. Background: during the American Revolution, the legal separation of the 13 colonies from Great Britain in 1776 actually occurred on July 2. When the Second Continental Congress voted to approve a resolution of independence that had been proposed in June by Richard Henry Lee of Virginia declaring the United States independent from Great Britain, it enrolled after voting for independence. Congress turned its attention to the Declaration of Independence, a statement explaining this decision, which had been prepared by a committee of 5, with Thomas Jefferson as its principal author. Congress debated and revised the wording of the Declaration, finally approving it 2 days later on July 4. A day earlier, John Adams had written to his wife Abigail, "The 2nd day of July, 1776, will be the most memorable epoch in the history of America. I am apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be commemorated as the day of deliverance, by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations, from one end of this continent to the other, for this time forward forevermore." Adams's prediction was off by 2 days. For the outset, Americans celebrated independence on July 4. The date shown on the much-publicized Declaration of Independence, rather than on July 2, the day the Resolution of Independence was approved in a closed session of Congress. Historians have long disputed whether members of Congress signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4. Even though Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin all later wrote that they had signed it on that day. Most historians have concluded that the Declaration was signed nearly a month after its adoption, on August 2, 1776, and not on July 4 as is commonly believed. Coincidentally, both John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, the only signers of the Declaration of Independence later to serve as Presidents of the United States, died on the same day, July 4, 1826, which was the 50th anniversary of the Declaration. Although not a signer of the Declaration of Independence, James Monroe, another founding father who was elected as president, also died on July 4, 1831. He was the 3rd president in a row who died on the anniversary of independence. Calvin Coolidge, the 30th president, was born on July 4, 1872. So far, he is the only U.S. president to have been born on Independence Day. Observance: in 1777, 13 gunshots were fired in salute, once at morning and once again as evening fell, on July 4 in Bristol, Rhode Island. Philadelphia celebrated the first anniversary in a manner a modern American would find familiar. An official dinner for the Continental Congress, toasts, 13-gun salutes, speeches, prayers, music, parades, troop reviews, and fireworks. Ships in port were decked with red, white, and blue bunting. In 1778, from his headquarters at Ross Hall, near New Brunswick, New Jersey, General George Washington marked July 4th with a double ration of rum for his soldiers and an artillery salute, feu de joie. Across the Atlantic Ocean, ambassadors John Adams and Benjamin Franklin held a dinner for the fellow Americans in Paris, France. In 1779, July 4th fell on a Sunday. The holiday was celebrated on Monday, July 5th. In 1781, the Massachusetts General Court became the first state legislature to recognize July 4th as a state celebration. In 1783, Moravians in Salem, North Carolina, held a celebration of July 4th with a challenging music program assembled by Johann Friedrich Peter. This work was titled The Psalm of Joy. This is recognized as the first recorded celebration and is still celebrated there today. In 1870, the U.S. Congress made Independence Day an unpaid holiday for federal employees. In 1938, Congress changed Independence Day to a paid federal holiday. Customs. Independence Day is a national holiday marked by patriotic displays. Similar to other summer-themed events, Independence Day celebrations often take place outdoors. Independence Day is a federal holiday, so all non-essential federal institutions, such as the Postal Service and federal courts, are closed on the day. Many politicians make it a point on this day to appear at a public event to praise the nation's heritage, laws, history, society, and people. Families often celebrate Independence Day by hosting or attending a picnic or barbecue. Many take advantage of the day off and, in some years, a long weekend to gather with relatives or friends. Decorations, e.g., streamers, balloons, and clothing, are generally colored red, white, and blue, the colors of the American flag. Parades are often held in the morning, before family get-togethers, while fireworks displays occur in the evening after dark at such places as parks, fairgrounds, or town squares. The night before the 4th was once the focal point of celebrations, marked by raucous gatherings often incorporating bonfires as the centerpiece. In New England, towns competed to build towering pyramids assembled from barrels and casks. They were lit at nightfall to usher in the celebration. The highest were in Salem, Massachusetts, on Gallows Hill, the famous site of the execution of 13 women and 6 men for witchcraft in 1692 during the Salem witch trials, where the tradition of celebratory bonfires had persisted, with pyramids composed of as many as 40 tiers of barrels. These made the tallest bonfires ever recorded. The custom flourished in the 19th and 20th centuries, and is still practiced in some New England towns. Independence Day fireworks are often accompanied by patriotic songs such as the national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, God Bless America, America the Beautiful, My Country, 'Tis of Thee, This Land Is Your Land, Stars and Stripes Forever, and, regionally, Yankee Doodle in northeastern states and Dixie in southern states. Some of the lyrics recall images of the Revolutionary War or the War of 1812. Fireworks shows are held in many states, and many fireworks are sold for personal use or as an alternative to a public show. Safety concerns have led some states to ban fireworks or limit the sizes and types allowed. In addition, local and regional weather conditions may dictate whether the sale or use of fireworks in an area will be allowed. Some local or regional fireworks sales are limited or prohibited because of dry weather or other specific concerns. On these occasions, the public may be prohibited from purchasing or discharging fireworks. But professional displays, such as those at sports events, may still take place if certain safety precautions have been taken. A salute of one gun for each state in the United States, called a salute to the Union, is fired on Independence Day at noon by any capable military base. In 2009, New York City had the largest fireworks display in the country, with more than 22 tons of pyrotechnics exploded. It generally holds displays in the East River. Other major displays are in Chicago and Lake Michigan, in San Diego over Mission Bay, in Boston on the Charles River in St. Louis on the Mississippi River, in San Francisco over the San Francisco Bay, and on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. During the annual Windsor Detroit International Freedom Festival. Detroit, Michigan hosts one of the world's largest fireworks displays over the Detroit River to celebrate Independence Day in conjunction with Windsor, Ontario's celebration of Canada Day. The first week of July is typically one of the busiest United States travel periods of the year, as many people use what is often a 3-day holiday weekend for extended vacation trips. Notable celebrations. Held since 1785, the Bristol 4th of July Parade in Bristol, Rhode Island is the oldest continuous Independence Day celebration in the United States. Since 1868, Seward, Nebraska has held a celebration on the same town square. In 1979, Seward was designated America's official 4th of July city, small town USA, by resolution of Congress. Seward has also been proclaimed Nebraska's official 4th of July city by Governor James Exon in proclamation. Seward is a town of 6,000 but swells to 40,000 plus during the July 4th celebrations. Since 1912, the Rebuild Society, a Danish-American friendship organization, has held a July 4th weekend festival that serves as a homecoming for Danish Americans in the rebuilt municipality of Denmark. Since 1959, the International Freedom Festival is jointly held in Detroit, Michigan and Windsor, Ontario during the last week of June each year as a mutual celebration of Independence Day and Canada Day, July 1st. It culminates in a large fireworks display over the Detroit River. The famous Macy's fireworks display, usually held over the East River in New York City, has been televised nationwide on NBC since 1976. In 2009, the fireworks display was returned to the Hudson River for the first time since 2000 to commemorate the 400th anniversary of Henry Hudson's exploration of the river. The Boston Pops Orchestra has hosted a music and fireworks show over the Charles River Esplanade called the Boston Pops Fireworks Spectacular annually since 1973. The event was broadcast nationally from 1991 until 2002 on A&E, and since 2002 by CBS and its Boston station WBZ-TV. WBZ 1030 and WBZ TV broadcast the entire event locally, and from 2002 through 2012, CBS broadcast the final hour of the concert nationally in prime time. The national broadcast was put on hiatus beginning in 2013, which Pop's executive producer David G. Mugger believed was the result of decreasing viewership caused by NBC's encore presentation of the Macy's fireworks. The national broadcast will be revived for 2016 and expanded to 2 hours on the Capitol lawn in Washington, D.C. A Capitol 4th, a free concert broadcast live by PBS, NPR and the American Forces Network, precedes the fireworks and attracts over 500,000 people annually.